get this right. Hopefully. The Mac Observer's Mac Geek Gab, episode 859 for Monday, March 1st, 2021. Welcome to the Mac Observer's Mac Geek Gab, the show where you send in all your tips, your questions, your cool stuff found. We do our best to answer your questions, and then we share your tips. We share your cool stuff found. We share our cool stuff found. The goal is for each and every one of us to learn at least 5 new things every single time we get together. Sponsors for this episode include helixsleep.com/MGG, candidco.com/MGG, mintmobile.com/MGG, and headspace.com/MGG. Check out all of those shortly. You check out all of those, and shortly we'll talk about all of those in slightly more in depth. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I am Dave Hamilton.
And here in Fairfield, Connecticut, this is John F. Braun.
How are you, John F. Braun? Do we know that for sure?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just asking. No one really knows. So, we have all kinds of stuff to go through today. We do have some great quick tips, a plethora, a whole host, a gaggle of cool stuff found, and then your questions, including some questions about traveling this summer and how tech might actually help make that a little bit better, and some fun with NFC. So yeah, lots to do. The first thing I want to do though, John, I want to break form a little bit. I want to talk about our sponsor, TextExpander, because I've been using TextExpander so much lately. You may have noticed that we are hiring for a publicist producer here. We've been getting lots of resumes and inquiries in via LinkedIn, and I want people to answer some questions for us. And so I use TextExpander because what TextExpander lets me do is have a little snippet of text that I put wherever I want to put this snippet, and I store it in TextExpander, and then whenever I am in the midst of replying to someone, I just invoke it either with a click of a mouse or typing. Like for this one, it's a series of questions about the job. So it's JOBQ. And then boom, it spits out this whole perfectly formatted thing. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to proofread it because I've already done that once. And that's the beauty of TextExpander, is that you get to do this stuff once and then it's perfect. And you store it in TextExpander. It syncs to all my devices. It can sync to all my team's devices if I want. It's excellent. And because you are a listener of Mac Geek Gab, you get, this is going to be great. You're going to love this. You get 20% off for your first year by going to textexpander.com/podcast. So you got to check this out. Go to textexpander.com/podcast to learn more. And our thanks to TextExpander for sponsoring this episode. All right, let's get to some quick tips, shall we, John?
Indeed.
All right. Listener David is going to kick us off as soon as I can pull up listener David's. I'm using Evernote. We use Evernote. And because we use AppleScript with Evernote, we have to use Evernote Legacy. And I switched to Evernote Legacy as opposed to just running the old version of Evernote. And the icon changed from a green icon to a gray icon, and I lose it all the time. So I need to figure this out. But anyway, listener David, I swear I will have it up here. Why is it not giving me what I want? What's happening here? Okay, there we are. Because David's got a good one. He says, while working to do the remote schooling with my grandkids, emailing PDFs of their assignments has become paramount. But this isn't so easy when you're on an iPad. He says, I've tried some of the apps, Printer Pro, Scanner Pro, Notes, Files, and they work, but it adds a lot of steps for an 8 or 12-year-old to figure out how to do on a daily basis. However, what I found was that Apple has a built-in way to do PDFs that's not at all intuitive, but it's right there in plain sight. If you need a PDF of anything, touch the share icon and then print. When the print preview shows up, use the blowout, so zoom out gesture with your fingers, multiple fingers close, then expand them outward. do that on the preview image, and when it expands outward, it sort of takes up the whole screen. Now, touch the share again, and now there is an option to save to files or share elsewhere. And from this point, whatever you are sharing is a PDF, because the print preview itself is generated as a PDF inside the OS. So now you have a PDF that you can go and do whatever you want. So he says it's similar to the well-hidden scan features, but this one isn't labeled at all. You're totally right, David. So great quick tip. Thank you, sir. Good stuff. Thoughts on that, John, before we move to Scott?
Moving on to Scott.
Moving on to Scott. All right. Scott brings us a great one. He says, no matter how many tabs you have open in Safari, hitting Command 9 will take you to the rightmost tab in that frontmost window. It's a fast way to get to the tab furthest away. He says, I have 12 tabs pinned, so there are always about 15 to 20 tabs open when I'm working. This shortcut comes in handy often. And he says, as a bonus tip, not a single non-geek Safari user I know uses pinned tabs. Pinning a tab makes it a permanent fixture until you unpin it in your Safari window, so that your favorite or most accessed websites are always there. When you open a new window, right there they are. Yeah, pinned tabs in Safari is life-changing. I have pinned tabs for Google Docs, for my Synology Drive, which is my Synology Docs. I have it for the current, like, in progress. So this is show 859. So I have a pinned tab for show 860 in my browser, so that whenever anything comes up, I can just go right to that 860 tab and populate, add like your question or your tip or whatever right to the in progress agenda. And then, of course, on whatever Sunday mornings or whenever we prep the show, I unpin that tab and I pin the next one in line. So yeah, those pin tabs are great. Super time saver. Yeah, it's good. I wish pinned tabs would sync like bookmarks across iCloud. They do not. So bear that in mind too. That would be super handy if they did. So maybe
they don't.
No, not for me. Not for me. It could just be me. I know bookmarks do. Bookmarks, of course, do. But pin tabs for me do not sync across iCloud. So in that, when I go to a tab, when I open a new browser window on a new machine, it's that machine's tabs, or that user account on that machine's tabs. So yes.
Okay. Because, yeah, like you, I got the chapter and timestamp document pinned because the URL is ridiculous.
Oh, so the chapter and timestamp document I do differently. I do that with, and I can't remember which app it is, the Unite browser from BZG apps. So that I have running as a separate app, which is cool. Yeah. But otherwise, yes, I would have it pinned as a tab for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but you can, yeah, exactly. And that's, this chapters and timestamps document is one that we use live while we're doing the show. So everybody at live.macgeekgab.com can actually join in and see the agenda and even help us get links in there and stuff. And so far we haven't had anybody, put bad things in there while we're trying to do the show. So that's good. The permissions remain open. So yeah, there you go. Cool. All right. Time to move on to cool stuff found, John.
Sure.
Okay, cool. The first one, I just gave one with Unite browser. The first one that I have is from Hyperbolic Software, who makes lots of things, like Tidy Up is one of them that helps you find duplicates, right? Well, they have an app now called Umbrella that they say prevention is better than the cure. And this looks for duplicates in real time. So it will report dupes to you the moment they're created. And it's just right there. It can live in your menu bar. So, and I think it is, I forget how much it is. I should have put that down in the show notes, but I did not. It is not free, but it's not terribly expensive. So I'm finding it here, John. One computer license is $20. So there you go. There you go. Fun stuff. What do you got, Mr. Braun?
So I noticed something new on my my setup. So I was I was playing back a video. I think it was a YouTube video, and there's a menu that you can click on, and it'll show you your AirPlay destinations. And so
Sure.
I had something that I wanted to send to my LG 4K HDR LED UHD TV. And when I clicked on the menu, it showed JB MacBook Pro, which is the machine, LG WebOS TV UK 6090 PUA. And I'm like, wait a second, that wasn't there before. And then 2 other devices. Apparently, in the last software update, LG added AirPlay 2. So
that's excellent. They said they were going to do that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah. So it's kind of handy. It's been a little wonky though. It worked the first I tried it. Now it times out and it says it can't talk to it. So I don't know. I mean, they say you have to be on the same network, which my TV is. So right. I don't know why it's acting up.
Is your TV?
Yeah, it can be handy.
Ethernet or Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi. So it should. I mean, it sees it. I mean, it lists it, so it obviously sees it.
You have an Eero down where your TV is, right? So you could plug your TV Ethernet into that Eero, right?
Yeah, I could.
Try that and see if it's better, because our 2020 LG TV is it came with AirPlay 2. It out of the box, and that is the most reliable AirPlay 2 device AirPlay device we've ever had. It just works every time, whereas our Apple TV is flaky, like you described. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm looking in the Eero app, and so my Apple TV and LG TV are on Wi-Fi, and my TiVo is on Ethernet. So try Ethernetting. I would Ethernet both of them in. I mean, why have extra Wi-Fi traffic, right? If you've got the thing right there, just plug them all in. You've got a switch, so plug them into your switch. Plug the switch into the Eero. You're good to go. John, I have. This has been a monumental week for me because I have stopped using my realistic clock radio that I've had by my bed since probably before I met you. And we've known each other a really long time. Like there was a TEEN at the spelling of my age when we met. So I've had this thing for a really long time. And it's fine. It's just more than I need right now because like other things do a lot of those jobs. But I do like having a clock that I can just look at while I'm sleeping. And I don't want that to always necessarily be my Apple Watch, although maybe I should just move into the future. But I am using the iHome TimeBoost, which and I've checked out a couple of these. They have a few of these in a variety of ways, but it's a great little thing. It's a Bluetooth speaker. It's an alarm. It's a clock so that you can you see you can see the time, and you can of course set the brightness of the time, which is really nice. And it's a Qi pad on top of the thing, so I can just lay my phone on it, and it charges while I sleep. So there you go. Bluetooth stereo alarm clock. Yeah, fun.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I also have, from when I grew up at home, I still have an old GE alarm clock, and it has a radio in it, though as of late, what I've been doing to listen to the radio, sometimes I'll do that to lull me to sleep, is if you don't know this, little tip here, the A-Lady will play radio stations. Right?
Yeah.
So I say A-Lady, BBC, or A-Lady, whatever station I want to listen to. It's pretty handy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Huh. Yeah, cool. All right, what do you got next? Cool stuff's found, right? Still yes, of course.
Yes, okay. So Dr. Bob sent in something that looks, I don't know if it's one charge that'll rule them all, but it has lots of stuff in it. So,
to answer our geek challenge. Yeah, okay. Yep.
Yeah, so let's see. It's a Skosh BaseLynk Kit Pro. So let's see what it has here. And it's like, Yeah, like a component system. There's like various pieces that all plug into one another here. I think you can actually build, you can add more modules. But
Got it.
So let's see. So wireless charging pad, a watch charger, MFI certified vertical charging station, one USB-C port, two USB-A ports. I think that's about it. Not cheap. $209.96. They listed on their site, though maybe you can get it for less. And I think they have a lower end model, but it looks like a cool approach.
That's pretty cool. Huh? That's pretty cool. I like it. Yeah, right. Plugging these in, you get to pick what you want. Now you've got that one charger to rule them all because it's purpose built for you. I like it. I like it. Cool. Let's see. Gideon sent in a cool stuff found Photopea, Photopea, which is an online Photoshop. It's an online, a web-based image editor for free. So if you want to do image editing, aka Photoshop type stuff, it's basically a free Photoshop clone-ish. So thanks for sending that in, Gideon. Good stuff. We'll put a link to it in the show notes, of course. So yeah, cool.
All right.
Yeah. You got something else, John?
Yeah. Well, actually, Joe has something else here. So, so I think someone had sent in a challenge saying, hey, is there any way, or I think he was scratching his head over this and then we presented it as a geek challenge, but is there any way to set the maximum percentage that your battery will charge to? Because most people acknowledge the fact that you probably shouldn't charge all the way up and let it run all the way down. So is there something that will prevent it from charging all the way up?
I see what you're saying. Like it shouldn't stay at 100 and it shouldn't be at 0. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. And I think the recommendation of the guy who wrote this tool, so it's called Al-Dente. And basically once you install it, you can set the maximum charge and a few other options.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah. So it reprograms the SMC.
Oh, I was wondering how it worked. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, and the setup is a little weird, but he has a video that goes through what you have to do. You get some weird warnings and stuff like that, and it installs a helper tool because to get to the SMC, you need admin and all that great stuff. But
right.
Yeah. So So I tried it, and it seems to do what it advertises. You get a little slider to set the voltage or the percentage. If you're going to remove it, though, you're going to you want to be sure if you remove it, which I did, that you set the percentage back to 100 if you want things to act as they did before, or reset the SMC.
Okay. All right.
Which is what I eventually, because what happened is I removed it, and then all of a sudden I noticed my machine would stop, like it wouldn't charge all the way up, and I'm like, well, why not? I removed the tool. So
right. I wonder if it works on M1 since those don't.
Yes, it does.
Okay, because they don't have an SMC. So
right.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. Cool. Let's see. Eliot has a cool stuff found for us. Let me put that over here. And Eliot tells us it involves Better Touch Tool. And he says the newest upgrade to Better Touch Tool incorporates the ability to set up a hyperkey shortcut, in which Caps Lock sends Control-Option-Shift-Command along with whatever key you press. So this gives me a new family of keyboard shortcuts, which I can use as my go-to launchers. Just as one example, Caps Lock S now launches Safari. You can configure the Control-Option-Shift-Command key shortcuts anywhere you like, for instance, Keyboard Maestro. But the best way to do it is within Better Touch Tool itself. Shortcuts in Better Touch Tool can do an amazing variety of actions such as touch bar functions, mouse clicks and moves, etc., etc. The muscle memory is really baked in now, and by far it is the easiest way to launch stuff. I like this. Yeah, Caps Lock, the oft unused key, can be repurposed. So very cool. Thanks, Eliot. I like it. Good stuff. Do you use Better Touch Tool on your on your touch bar equipped machine?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, really? Okay.
And not only do I, but I use, there's an add-on which actually makes it useful. It's, I guess, a bunch of scripts, but something called Golden Chaos.
Right. We talked about it on the show. Yeah. Right. I will put
it gives you a charging status, the weather, a clipboard manager, believe it or not.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, because most people would acknowledge that the Apple's implementation without customization is not terribly useful, but this makes it actually quite useful.
That's great. Ah, very cool.
I mean, the touch bar is actually its own little computer, right?
I think it is. It runs iOS or something, like in its own weird way. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. I want to take a minute and talk about our next two sponsors, and then we got even more cool stuff found on the way. Sound good to you, Mr. Braun?
Awesome.
I think I want to talk about our two sponsors. It sounds like I want to. It seems like I want to, and yet it's not happening. So, all right. First up here is Candid. Are you unhappy with your smile? Because you don't have to be. Thousands of people have used Candid, which is this clear, comfortable, removable, and practically invisible aligners that help straighten your teeth. And now they love their smiles. Very, very cool stuff. In fact, they sent us some customer stories here. Cameron in Nashville says, once I started Candid, my life completely changed. I started going to the gym more. I started eating better. I even have better dental hygiene. My goal for my wedding was perfect teeth, and Candid got me there. There's no comparison. And your treatment is prescribed and closely monitored remotely, which is good, by a licensed orthodontist who's an expert in this, right? You have the same quality of care as you get from an in-office orthodontist, from the comfort and convenience and safety of your own home. And while other companies use general dentists, Candid truly only works with orthodontists. And the same one that created your plan is the one that you work with start to finish, so it's all good. The average Candid treatment is just 6 months, and you'll start seeing results way before then, and it costs thousands less than traditional braces. You've got to check this out, and you can. Become your best you and start straightening your teeth today. Right now, you can save $75 on Candid Starter Kit. Go to candidco.com/MGG and use code MGG. That's CandidCO, so CANDIDCO.com/MGG, code MGG. Take advantage of this limited time offer to save $75 on your starter kit. CandidCO.com/MGG, code MGG. And our thanks to Candid for sponsoring this episode. Next up is Headspace. I love meditation. I go on and off with it. I'm going to be perfectly honest. It is not a practice that I have kept up with for 30 years, but I definitely use it. And then, I kind of fall out of practice and then back into practice, and that's okay. And Headspace has really helped me stay in practice because it's this little pocket-sized guide that helps me focus. And if you have 10 minutes, Headspace truly can change your life because it's your daily dose of mindfulness in the form of guided meditations in an app on your phone. You can do it on your computer too, don't get me wrong, but having it on my phone is super easy because it's one of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research. They've got like 25 published studies on its benefits, 600,000 5-star reviews, over 60 million downloads. Very cool stuff, and you can pick what kinds of meditations you do. 10 minutes is a good sort of average, but if you've only got 3 minutes, they've got this little SOS meditation for you. If you've got kids, you can actually do a meditation with your kids, or you can do one after your kids go to sleep or before they wake up if you want to have a little moment to yourself maybe. It's great. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. So go to headspace.com/MGG. Again, that's headspace.com/MGG. And that's where you get a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal they're offering right now. So go to headspace.com/MGG today. And our thanks to Headspace for sponsoring this episode. All right, John, I have been messing with switches, smart switches. So you started me down this path, my friend, and I can't thank you enough. In fact, the only comment I have is, why did you let me wait so long? But I have had, because my network is so much more reliable running smart switches. I run 6 switches in my setup because I've got 2 buildings. I've got 2 right now in the house, or in the office, but really I only need 1. And then I've got, a bunch in the house. So I could probably be at 4, not 6, but in the house, I definitely need 3 in 3 key locations. And I would routinely have just weird network issues that often were just solved by rebooting one of my dumb, AKA inexpensive, AKA cheap and worth it switches. But I've been playing with lots of new switches, and one of them that I've looked at recently is the Trendnet EdgeSmart switches. So I have the 8-port EdgeSmart switch. It's got power over Ethernet in it. It has the web interface for this. So I've checked out Trendnet, I've checked out TP-Link, which I'll talk about in a second, and D-Link, which we've talked about before. And the web interfaces for these are all basically the same. They aren't, once you sort of understand what you're trying to do with them, all the features are there. It's the reality is you're not going to spend a lot of time in there. You're going to set them up and then off you go. But the Trendnet one has been great. It's reliable, and it has STP, spanning tree protocol support, and port fast, which I find to be an important thing if you're running any sort of meshing type of equipment that might be plugged into different switches. This is somewhat true with your mesh Wi-Fi networks, especially if you're using Ethernet backhaul. It is definitely true with things like Sonos and other things that create a mesh. You want your switches to be able to speak this language of spanning tree protocol or rapid spanning tree protocol, and then port fast, which is part of spanning tree. The idea is what spanning tree protocol does is it doesn't help. It allows the devices on the network to decide how to deal with potential network loops. And the way it does it is by sending packets around. And if it sees its own packet come back on a different interface, it knows, aha, there's a loop there. We should block packets from that section. So that's what spanning tree protocol does. It does it very well as long as everything speaks that language, and having your switches speak that language, it turns out I'm finding, is a valuable thing. Port fast is a way of telling your switch whether you have just one device or a segment of your network on each port on your switch. So port fast, you would say, yes, this, like if I plug my iMac into a switch, I would call it an edge port, and it would negotiate that much faster and let that come online much faster than it would a network port, where it's going to listen first before it lets it online, so that it doesn't just have this flood of looping traffic. With, like I said, with like Eero or any of the various meshes that I test, plus Sonos here, there's no question that having spanning tree protocol and port fast are there. So an 8-port switch from Trendnet is $99 on an 8-port EdgeSmart switch, $99 on Amazon. The TP-Link switch that I'm looking at is very similar to the TP-Link switch you have, John. Mine is the 16-port Easy Smart switch, and of course links in the show notes for all these. That's only $80 on Amazon for a 16-port switch versus $99 for an 8-port switch. But the difference is the TP-Link doesn't have spanning tree protocol. So I for my setup, I would not be, because I have multiple switches and meshing things that have the potential to send data around, I would not recommend it for that kind of setup. But for your setup, a TP-Link switch, that the TP-Link's, what do they call it, Easy Smart switches are perfect, because you can save a little bit of money. You get all the smart switching features. It has its own sort of internal loopback detection, which is great. And you don't need STP, so you don't have to pay for it. So yeah, pretty good stuff. The D-Link 16-port switch that has STP and port fast. is $110. So, there you go. So links for all of these in the show notes, but switching, fun. I don't know. There you go. Thoughts on any of that, Mr. Braun?
No, I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
All the little features there, priority and has a cable test.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like is that it has port statistics that show transmitted packets, received packets on each port and stuff like that. Whatever data it's reporting is wrong.
Huh. Okay. All right. I wonder.
Well, in that, so there's a transmit good packet column, a transmit bad packet column, a receive good packet, and receive bad packet. One, like the numbers in my receive bad packet are huge, and I don't really think they're bad packets. Maybe they are.
Okay. Yeah.
So I find it kind of hard to believe that that's happening on, a very short cable run. And also some of the numbers are negative. So I don't think they're doing their math right. Because I'm not sure how you send a negative number of packets.
Well, maybe they're just thinking about the nature of the packets themselves, John. Like these are good, positive packets, and this data is sort of bad, negative data. Maybe that's what they mean. Well, I don't know. It seems interesting. Yeah. Yes. All right.
Yeah, but like one of the things that it supports is link aggregation. There's a special link aggregation mode where you can bond
all of these
ports together and certain other devices. Yeah.
All these features John is talking about are in the web interfaces of all of these smart switches, and this is really sort of the differentiator between a smart switch and a non-smart switch, where you get all this data, but also you get a switch that's actually paying a little bit more attention, and that alone seems to have made a big difference for me. So yeah, cool. John, I attended Showstoppers, I think it was last week, and there were two things I saw. The first was from a company called HoverCam. We're having trouble speaking today. It's eGlass. So, you're on a Zoom call and you want to use like the whiteboard function or something. And now you're trying to do that, but you're looking off to the side and you're trying to like make it all work, and it's not happening. Well, HoverCam's eGlass. I really want to call this company HoverCam. So HoverCam's eGlass, it puts the camera behind a 35-inch piece of glass that you can draw on with like dry erase markers, and it flips the image so that what you draw appears the right way to the person on the other end. So teaching a class or hosting a seminar or whatever, it's all built right in here. You can not only can you look at the people that you're talking to, but when you look and point at a thing on your screen, you're looking at it. It draws people's attention to it. So I thought that it was a pretty cool thing. It's not cheap. I think it's a couple grand, but for classrooms and things like that, it's just cool tech, which is why we do Cool Stuff Found. That's, there you go. And then the next thing that I saw at Showstoppers, John, was a thing called the GoDonut Universal Phone Tablet Stand. And it is literally a piece of molded something, plastic of sorts. And it's a circle, which is why they call it the donut. And it's got like sort of cutouts in it to hold your phone at an angle or your iPad at an angle. I think you can even use two of these and hold up a laptop or something. So it's perfect for those moments where you want to like do a video conference or something from your phone or your iPad, and it just boom, it holds it up, or watch a show. Bring this on the airplane, right? And now you can, when you can get on an airplane again, and now you can watch a movie without having to have an iPad stand or an iPad case that flips into a stand that's going to be sort of flimsy anyway. This thing just holds it in place, and you are good to go. So yeah, the GoDonut. So fun. I love finding out about new stuff. Anything on either of those?
Nope.
Okay.
No, we're good. And then here's the next part of our show we call Not Cool Stuff Found.
Uh-oh.
So get a call from my mom, and she's like, "Yeah, the computer's not working." I'm like, "Okay, what's happening?"
This was the computer. Wait,
because
catch us up here. This was the computer that you just replaced the SSD in, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Didn't you just?
I'll explain.
Okay, go ahead. You talked about.
Let me explain what I did.
Great. I just can't, because you talked about this computer last episode, right?
Yes, let me talk. Okay.
Yes, go. You sounded like you started in the middle of the story. I wanted to catch people up that didn't hear last week.
All right. The machine failed. She tried to restart, and the progress bar would get almost all the way to the end, and it would never get to the operating system.
Got it.
I'm like, okay, let's boot into recovery and run disk first aid. Ran disk first aid. Disk first aid was like, yep, everything's great. I'm like, yeah, I don't think it is. And disk utility said smart status verified, which was a lie, as I'll explain. So then I went over, and here's what I did to save the day, and it did save the day. So I brought an external SSD with me. I then booted into recovery, installed the OS onto the external SSD, and then booted from that and sucked the data out of what turned out to be a failing hard drive.
Got it.
So that got her up and running again, and it was working fine, but it was an old machine. I'm like, you should get a new one. As it turns out, this is a 2012 iMac, Dave. So that's a good run, right?
Doesn't owe her anything. Years. Yep.
Right. And went to the refurb store, and I got her 2019 iMac, same screen size. She's happy with that. I think I got it with 8 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig SSD, which for what she does is fine. So but then I wanted to do a post-mortem, Dave. So I brought it home with me. I have a USB-C to Thunderbolt cable. Booted the machine into target disk mode, which, you hold down T when you're booting it. And then I hooked it up to my MacBook Pro, which has various handy utilities on it. So as soon as the drive got plugged in, TechTool Pro came up and said, "Whoa, this hard drive is toast." So that's one nice thing that TechTool Pro does. And actually, I got to upgrade the version. My version of it. And then I ran Drive DX, and it came up and said advanced smart status failing. Overall health rating 85.3%. And basically it also said, the drive is toast.
Wow.
But I have a report. I mean, and Drive DX tells you all sorts of interesting things. Like, let me see one thing it mentioned here, which kind of shocked me. That actually shouldn't have. Let's see. Power on hours, 10,663. That's a lot of hours. And the one thing that they pointed out that means like, things are horrible. It's something called current pending sector count, which I think means that things are failing and it hasn't yet reallocated them. So I guess that's what happened to it.
Oh, yeah, that's bad. That's not good.
So, but the new machine, I think this was on High Sierra. I upgraded her to that. And then the refurb came with Catalina. And a few things that were on her old machine didn't work anymore.
Did you bump her up to Big Sur or no?
No.
Why not? I'm just curious why. Like, what was why wouldn't you? Just for people who are listening.
Because it didn't ship with it.
Oh, okay.
I don't see a compelling reason to upgrade it to Big Sur. Maybe I will the next time I'm there. I just didn't see any reason to change it. Once she's up and running and everything, I want to make sure that everything, works as it did in the past before I go to that next step. I don't want to,
if I were doing
change
this with
too many variables at once.
Well, that's sort of the thing, right? Is you don't want to change too many variables, but you also don't want to change more in the future if you don't have to. And if she's going from High Sierra to something not High Sierra, my feeling would be, let's get let's start you at the most current so that there's not this second wave of a learning curve going from Catalina to Big Sur. If it were a customer, I probably would have just bumped it to Big Sur so that it's like, okay, clean slate, here we go. And now you're current and moving forward and all of that. Because I find Big Sur quite stable for almost everything. So I'm close to being ready to upgrade the studio computer to Big Sur, which is, kind of an exciting thought, because then I can use like Thunderbolt hubbing and things that Catalina won't let me do. So, cool. That's great. That's great. I'm glad.
It was just there was already some apps that had a line through them by upgrading to what OS this machine shipped with, and I didn't want to disable even more apps by going to Big Sur, because I've had to deal with that as well. So
sure. Yeah, although Big Sur, like Catalina was the prep for Big Sur, right? So I don't think there would be anything that if it, like the line through it on Catalina was sort of, that's why we had Catalina, was to get us to Big Sur. So I think you probably won't see any when you bounce her up. Obviously, you might, but I can't think of any apps that worked with Catalina that wouldn't work with Big Sur in that way. The 32-bit apocalypse and all of that stuff. So, cool. That's great. I'm glad it works. I'm curious, are you going to repurpose that iMac into, like a server or something or no?
I mean, it's kind of wimpy.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Nah, and I looked, and getting into this thing to replace the hard drive, you got to cut the adhesive with this.
It's not that bad. I've done those. You need the suction.
iFixit.
You need the suction
drive.
cups. Yeah. And you need the suction cups to take the glass off.
That's not what I saw in the
Really?
in the hard drive upgrade guide for this class of machine.
Oh, interesting. I thought that was just part
No,
of
the
it.
guide for this shows, you got to get a cutter and you got to cut the adhesive. It's like the screen is glued onto it, and I don't think
Interesting.
suction cups would be a safe way to pull the screen.
Right.
on.
No, if it's magnet, then yes, but no. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is from what I could see in the repair guide, the pre-magnet. Though you're right, I guess the future machines had very powerful magnets that held the glass on there.
Interesting, because I've got a 20. I've done that on a 2011 iMac, and it was magnets, not glued. But these were big screen iMacs. I think these were 27, so maybe that's the difference. I don't know. Oh, earlier is magnet. Warren says, okay, got it. Thanks, Warren. In the chat room at live.macgeekgab.com. Perfect. Yes. Fun. Yeah, I wouldn't want to cut the glue. But you could run it with an external SSD, right? Like you don't have to replace the internal drive. Just forget it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I did. But yeah, but...
Yeah. Yeah, if there's no...
I don't know. The machines I have are plenty.
Right. Yeah, fair. In the not cool stuff found, but also not surprising category, I wanted to take a moment and mention, Macstock 2021 that happens in the, north of Chicago each year is not going to happen again here in 2021 just because of the, ongoing pandemic related stuff. As Mike Potter put a great video up about this, and it's worth taking the 17 minutes to watch it. As he called it, there are technical reasons or technical difficulties with getting together, aka all the logistical stuff that doesn't allow people to gather and travel and all of that. So Macstock moves to 2022. I think he's going to do an online Macstock again this year. So he's got more stuff. Pay attention to that. Again, links in the show notes. So thanks, Mike, and good luck, and let us know what you need. And we're here for you as always, man. It's good stuff. All right. We have some tips, some follow-ups, and some questions to get to, perhaps not necessarily in that order, but the next thing that I want to do is talk about our next two sponsors, if that works for you, my friend.
Okay.
All right. We record this usually on Sunday mornings, and it's really important to me to be well rested so that I can come in and be energetic and focused and able to, answer all your questions and stuff. I had no idea how bad our mattress had gotten until we got our new Helix sleep mattress late last year. Because I thought our old mattress was still new. Like, I remembered buying it. It was something that I'd bought like since we had started doing this show. But, you know, mattresses wear out after a decade or so. At least that one did. And this Helix sleep mattress, not only is it new and, of course, comfortable because of that, but it really is the most comfortable mattress I've ever slept on. The whole way that they do this is fantastic. And that's one of the reasons I'm super stoked to have them as a sponsor and to tell you about them. We took the Helix Quiz. Both Lisa and I took it, but you can take it on behalf of your partner if you sleep with a partner as well. But we both took it, and we both wound up with the same mattress, which is the Helix Midnight. It's kind of their most popular one. It's middle of the road, but I hate to use that term because it's so much better than middle of the road when you just think about mattresses in general. I tend to sleep on my side, and it like has the right amount of everything. It's like soft, but still really supportive. I fall asleep right away. And really, I'm getting some of the best sleep that I've had, certainly in recent memory. And that also includes, having gone through a pandemic here. So these folks know what they're doing, and you want to check it out. If you're looking for a mattress, please go take that quiz. And the way you do it is you go to helixsleep.com/MGG. They say that it's a 2-minute quiz. I think it's going to take you a lot less time than that. And then they match you up to your mattress. They have a 10-year warranty, and Helix Sleep is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for listeners of Mac Geek Gab. But you got to go to helixsleep.com/MGG. Make sure helixsleep.com/MGG. And our thanks to Helix for sponsoring this episode. Next up is something else I did this past fall. I finally moved my whole family over to Mint Mobile, our next sponsor here. And I feel so silly for not having done this a long time ago. I mean, here I have been telling you about how great Mint Mobile is, how inexpensive it is, how well it's been working for me. And so finally, yes, we did it. The whole family is on Mint Mobile. They have their Mint Family thing, and it's just $15 a month per phone. And the cool part is if somebody needs more data, you ratchet that up, right? But you don't have to ratchet up the whole family. You just do the individual ones. And by going online only and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes those savings on. That's how they do what they do. All the plans come with unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And yes, you get 5G speeds with this. We have tested it. We're here in New Hampshire. Obviously, my son is at school out in Portland, Oregon. He says it rocks out there. He loves it. You bring your own phone. You keep your phone number in your contacts. It works with Apple's visual voicemail and all of that stuff. And of course, if you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. So to get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/MGG. That's mintmobile.com/MGG. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/MGG. Our thanks to Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode. All right. Well, let's go to some questions here. I want to start with Ben, John. And Ben asks, my client is taking an RV trip from California to Texas and back and hoping to continue teaching music online along the way. Is an iPhone as a hotspot sufficient to teach on Zoom using her Mac? Are there any other sort of boosters or other hotspots that might be effective? What would you do? And I suppose that's the best way to answer this question. I'd probably just use my iPhone. Any other device is going to have the same dependence on local service quality, of your cell signal and all of that as the iPhone, right? And she's already got the iPhone. So why buy another device if if it's just going to be the same? And the trick would be looking at the route, right? Figuring out where you're going, finding out if your carrier that you currently have will give the most, are they going to give you the most reliable service? And if not, who will? And then will they provide you enough bandwidth per month for these Zoom calls? When we were up, this summer we did, we didn't take an RV, but we rented a house in upstate Vermont And I talked about how their broadband there was terrible. So my son had some Zoom calls for the job that he had this summer, and he wound up doing them over his phone's hotspot, which was way faster than the internet that they had up there. And I think we wound up figuring it was using about a gig an hour to do a Zoom call that way. Obviously, that might change if you're doing HD or not HD, and high density audio could also change, or high def audio could also change that. But that's about what we found. So bear that in mind when trying to calculate how much bandwidth you need. The other thing that you could do is if it's an 11 or later, you can use the dual SIM in an iPhone to have multiple carriers. If it turns out that, wherever the travel route is going to take her, in this area, like one carrier is great, but not there. And then this other area, another carrier is great, but not, that sort of thing. You can certainly leverage that kind of scenario too. Or if you need to balance the data between two different carriers, that's another way of doing it. So yeah, I think, I don't know. What do you think, John? Hello? Okay.
I'll go with what you did.
Okay. All right. Okay. You want to take us to Todd, my friend? Yes?
Yes. All right. Todd says, hold on.
He'll get there. It's one of those shows, man. I don't know.
No, I thought I was muted.
Oh, no, you're not muted. I can hear you. You're good.
Okay. So Todd asks, in Catalina in this utility, when I select File, New Image, Blank Image, see attached, the default selected format is macOS Extended, journaled. Is this the best format for a DMG living on an APFS formatted SSD? And this may get a bit philosophical, but I think either of the non-case sensitive options would be okay, Dave, be it APFS or macOS Extended journaled. The only point I'd like to make is that from a reliability standpoint, macOS Extended is tried and true, whereas APFS is kind of the new kid on the block. So,
yeah.
One of the other choices is size. So you can set the size. So, of course, make sure that you make it big enough for your needs. There's also an encryption choice. If the data is sensitive, encrypt it. Just keep in mind that encryption algorithms change over time. So, I'll throw that into the pot there. Likewise for the format, if for archiving, you may want to, so I think the default is read, write, disk image. If you don't, if you're just doing, archiving, then you may want to not do read write, just because what if somebody finds your disk image and wants to screw it up?
Oh, interesting. Huh. How, if it's...
Yeah, we talked about this before.
But how do you... So riddle me this. If you make it read only, how do you write your data to it? I realize I might be missing something terribly obvious by asking this question.
I think no, it's a menu. Where is it? New image from folder, I think.
Oh, right. You create. Yes. No, that's great. Yep, you're right. You build it first and then burn it, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I got. But just
cool.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's it. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think you'd be fine with either. I would go not case sensitive. Only use case sensitive if you have some very specific.
Yeah, that case. I know we've had multiple reports of that causing headaches for people.
Yeah, but I would agree either APFS or HFS Plus, the macOS Extended. I'd probably go with APFS just in case I ever want to use voluming or snapshots. I know Time Machine is using snapshots if it's in APFS. So I probably would. But I don't know. I agree with you. You're right. Either one. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Listener Ben asks a question that sent you and me down a nice little path here, John. Ben says, I've learned from you the potential value of NFC tags around the home. I haven't invested in any yet, but just had an idea I wanted to run by you first. I've started wearing an Apple Watch, and I regularly forget to manually start workouts. I'm so used to apps like Arc automatically tracking my movement and activities. To make it easier to remember, I wonder if I could put an NFC tag by the door where my bike and I exit the house, and then just tap my watch to trigger a shortcut that starts a specific type of workout. So the answer is no. You can't do this with your watch because your watch doesn't support reading NFC tags, but your iPhone does. So the question then becomes, if I tap my iPhone to the tag, will this work? What do you think? And absolutely, yeah. I created a shortcut to test to make sure that I could start an outdoor cycle workout, right, with open goal. And I did that in the Shortcuts app, and it's fine. So the Shortcuts app is fully capable of automating the beginning of that. Then it was time to see about NFC tags, but I didn't have any. So we ordered a couple of packs of NFC tags, you and me, John, didn't we? And these things are pretty cool. The way you use John's dug more into the NFC part of it than me, but in terms of linking it with Shortcuts, you launch the Shortcuts app, you go to the middle tab, or what's currently the middle tab, labeled Automations, and you create a new automation, and one of the options as a trigger is an NFC tag. And when you add that, it says, well, scan your tag. And once you scan the tag, then you name it, and now that tag can be the thing that kicks off that automation. So a very personalized tag. In fact, you could have an automation on your phone that does one thing, and, like your partner or whatever could have an automation on their phone that does a different thing for the same tag when you leave and tap it by the door, which is pretty cool. So, but John, you dug deep into these NFC tags, which is exciting to me. I've been waiting for this moment. So, yeah.
Yes. So first, I already had one, Dave, though actually it's kind of tiny and you got to get like really close to it. Here's the ones that Dave got.
Yeah, they're about the size of a quarter for
believe it or not, they actually have the same and the thing is, actually, the chip inside is actually the same vendor. I think it's NPX or something like that. Well, hold on. But then I started getting annoyed. So, well, not annoyed, but so I took the one tag that I already had and I created a shortcut. So all these tags have a big long number that's like a serial number for it. This particular tag, because it's from a company called itag.com, also has a URL embedded in it. So what was kind of interesting is I did a shortcut, and I think the shortcut was show me the value of a particular stock that I'm holding. And it did that. And then it would come up and say, oh, do you want to go to itag.com? And it's like,
because the URL,
I don't know if I really want.
So the shortcut was doing the shortcut, and then the URL that was embedded in the tag, not a URL in the shortcut, would also then fire.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Makes sense.
Right. Okay. Then the other thing I wanted to do was see if I could find the serial number for this tag. And I couldn't figure out how to get a shortcut to display the serial number of the tag. I'm like, oh man. So, I went online to see if I could get another program to do this. And I found one and it wouldn't read the tag. And then I found another one, Dave, and we're going to link to it here. NFC for iPhone. So here was the fun part is that, so this would read the tag and it would show me all sorts of interesting information about it. Here's what got me excited. So it showed the serial number and some other things, and it said type of tag, read write. And I'm like, really?
Oh.
And it turns out both of the tags that I have here are writable. So this is a new feature, as far as I can tell, in iOS 14, in that your NFC reader is also an NFC writer.
What?
And this one program that I found allows you to create various, to embed various things in the tag. As we already mentioned, you can put a URL in the tag. But some of the other things it lets you do, Dave, is you can do a business card. So there's all these predefined data structures that the phone apparently knows about. So like one of them, Dave, was to create an SMS. And the info you put into it is, so I put your phone number for your iPhone, and I put a message in there. And when I held the tag up to the phone, it went to messages and populated a message for you. I still had to send manually. Maybe I can make it so it does it without my having to say send. But there are all sorts of predefined data structures. Again, a business card, a URL, Wi-Fi was another one that I see. So you could have a NFC tag that you could give to somebody, and it would, I guess, let them log into your Wi-Fi without revealing the password, right?
Right.
Unless they read the tag.
Yeah, but that's a common use case for NFC is like, I've seen that at conferences. I want to say Mac Tech did that one year where it was like, oh, just, hit your phone on the tag and now you've got the Wi-Fi credentials and you're good to go. So yeah. Very cool. Wow. Okay. I got to play with this app. I have not played with this app
so
yet.
Let's see. Right. So let me see. Business card, shortcut, location, web link, Wi-Fi, text, telephone number, and SMS are the data types that this program has. And it supports in-app purchase in that I found it so useful that, so it's ad supported. So if you, it'll do everything, but it'll show you ads. But if you throw them $5, the ads go away.
Oh, nice.
So I threw them $5.
Cool. Well, that's pretty cool, man. I like this. Yeah.
No, it was exciting because I just never realized that the phone now is a tag writer, not just a reader.
Right. And somebody in the chat room said that they were even able to write tags with all the way back to their 8 Plus. So the phone has been an NFC device, I think, back to the 8 range. I don't think before that, but maybe. But I think it was the iPhone XR that was the first device that would read a tag without you needing to launch an app to do so. Like it was an always on reader, I guess is the way of thinking about it. So, so yeah, no, that's great. Very, very cool. Oh man, fun stuff. All right, cool. Should we go to Anand, John?
Yes.
I'm going to resync us here, John.
Question, and we have
because you and I there is an audio, noticeable delay. So I think I have resynced us. Are you able to hear me, my friend? But I can't.
Hello?
Yeah, now you're out of sync. So go ahead and reconnect, John, and we'll yeah, there you go. Perfect. There was a fun little sync issue. Welcome back, my friend. Hello.
All right. Anand has a question, and we have an answer. Hello, gents. Anand here from frigid Toronto. So, likely a quick question. 2018 MacBook Pro, 128 gigabyte SSD. My photos library is taking up all my space. I want to move it to a Synology DS418 Play. Should I host my photos library on my NAS? The other traction for this is... Wait, why did the question...
I made it go away. I'm sorry, John. That's my fault, man.
Put it back.
I will put it back. Yeah. Evidently, you can't put it back with whatchamacallit, with undo.
Hold on.
I got it. I got it. It's back there, John. It should appear in current show for you. I was being efficient in archiving things in Evernote, and I accidentally archived the question we were on. So there you go. Yep.
I don't see it.
All right. Well, I will read the question. You give the answer, because by the time it comes back.
Wait, no.
You got it?
Here it is. All right. The other attraction for this is that my wife has just gotten one of the M1 MacBook Airs, and so we now are a multi-laptop house, which makes sharing the library attractive. Thoughts? I'll give you a thought. Per Apple, they have an article called Move Your Photos Library to Save Space on Your Mac. And specifically, what it says is to prevent data loss, Apple doesn't recommend storing photo libraries on external storage devices like SD cards and USB flash drives or drives that are shared on a network, which is exactly what the Synology is. So the reply is don't do that. What they do suggest is you can store your library on an external storage device such as a USB or Thunderbolt drive formatted as APFS or Mac OS Extended Journal.
Yeah.
So that's what Apple has to say. Technically, I think you could do it, but as they say, especially if multiple people are accessing the same photo library, you're going to likely screw it up.
Yeah.
Just not the way it's built.
So first of all, never set up a scenario where multiple people are accessing the same photo library. Now, I know that some of you have done this, but there's a massive asterisk on this. And again, I'll say it, do not share a photos library among multiple users, even if you're a geek. Now, the way you would do it is you would have two different user accounts. They would never be logged in at the same time. So turn off fast user switching and don't use them as your system library, AKA for syncing iCloud photos, because you're just like, there's so many potential worlds of hurt here, and you're almost certainly going to find yourself in at least one of them. So don't do this. And then also don't put your single user photo library on a NAS, not because of the sharing issues, but because of the issues of the way things work across the network with file sharing. Photos does not work with it. We have tried it here. We thought we were smarter than Apple and able to make it work, and it just constantly corrupted the library. Do not do it. Those are my feelings. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Please subscribe to our podcast.
Now, I think what would work, Dave, is, all right, so take Apple's advice and do, an external Thunderbolt or USB drive. Does family sharing let other people look at the photo library?
Not in the way that we would all want it to. You can share, just like you and I could, you can share albums amongst friends and family members and all of that. Mm-hmm. But it's not the same. Yeah, it would be nice if it were. This is one of the places where Apple's multi-user lack of good, robust multi-user cloud implementation, it shines or doesn't shine. So there you go. Yeah. So, no, it doesn't. I'm really hoping someday that we will get true family sharing of photos, or at least some way to make that easier. I don't know. If you have any ideas, feedback at macgeekgab.com. If you've solved this problem, it's yet another one of these little holy grails. So
you heard them, folks. Feedback at macgeekgab.com.
That is feedback at macgeekgab.com. And now I'm going to archive this again since I'm in practice. Mm-hmm. And we will move on to what I think is going to be our last topic of the show, which is from Jin, who asks, how do I connect and screen control to my parents' Mac Mini on the other side of the country? I have a MacBook Pro with current running Big Sur. I have used TeamViewer for free, one troubleshoot episode a month, maybe, and now they're trying to charge me $60 a month because they tell me I'm using it for professional services. I will pay for an application, and certainly I will pay for this one if it is the best. But what's the best? So yeah, TeamViewer. I freaking hate TeamViewer now. I used to like using it, and I would use it for friends and family. And then like you, they came to me and they're like, you're a commercial user, you must pay. And it's like, yeah, cool. So I stopped using TeamViewer and I started using, but this is not my recommend. TLDR, you're going to use Zoom. That's the best thing. But I started using Messages because Apple has their built-in screen sharing. And the way you do that is you open up Messages, you go to the person's name in the top of the Messages window. So you go to a message, you get texting with them, right? Then you go to their name and you hit the little drop down. That's where you can say add to contacts and all that. Well, there is there are two options. One is to ask to share the screen, and the other is to invite to share the screen. And it starts a voice conversation at the same time that it starts an interactive screen sharing conversation. Both people have mouse control, and it's great. But it's a little bit wonky sometimes, and it doesn't always work. The reality is nowadays, almost everyone has Zoom on their computer, and everybody who has Zoom on their computer, almost everyone is really comfortable using it. So, silver lining to the pandemic, there's Zoom. The other silver lining is Zoom, in its free form, allows for unlimited length conversations between two people. As soon as you add the third and make it a group, the free version limits you to 40-minute conversations. But you're not talking about a group. You're just talking about a one-on-one. So Zoom for free is your answer. And it's so easy to share the screen. It's just a big green button at the bottom of the window. You choose to share it, and then you can ask them to give you control, or they can just grant you control, and you're off to the races. Of course, you've got your audio and video chat going at the same time, so it's very interactive and super smooth. So we've found it to be really the most friction-free way of sharing screens. So yeah, that's what I've been using anytime I have to help somebody, either a Dave the Nerd client or family or friends or anything like that. So yep, Zoom is the way to go. That's what I like to use. Google Meet will do it too, and Meet actually happens in the browser. So if you want to do that, but Zoom, I don't know, Zoom's just super easy. So what do you use, John, these days?
Yeah, I tried when I was trying to support the issue on the failing parent's computer, and at one point I had also set up TeamViewer, but it kept complaining that it was too old, and I couldn't find the updated version, so I just gave up on that. Then I recall, and I don't know if iCloud is set up on my parents' machine properly. No, I think it is, because I was able to FaceTime to her machine.
Okay.
But I think through messages you can do remote.
That's what
control,
I said.
Right?
That's what I said.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
No, I was.
But it's wonky.
Something else I didn't.
Yeah. No.
That.
It's totally. Yeah. No. Messages I have found to be you click the invite somebody, and sometimes they never see the invite, and vice versa, right? So Zoom. Yeah,
I think that's the problem I had, is I wasn't able to figure out how to. Right. Yeah, I sent an invite to her Apple ID, and it never arrived.
Never arrived.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Yep. No, Zoom is the way to go. We've been really happy with it. So yeah.
Yeah, iCloud, and I was having iCloud weirdness last night too, in that I was getting messages on my phone, but they weren't appearing in messages on my computer. Or if I restarted or quit and then started it up again, then they would be there. The messages don't always get to the cloud in a timely fashion. And
I don't think it's the cloud. I think it's the Messages app on the Mac. Was this on your Big Sur machine or your Catalina machine?
Big Sur.
Interesting. I haven't seen this that I know of on Big Sur, but I know with Catalina many times it would be like, oh crap, Messages is out of sync. And I would just quit Messages and relaunch, and everything would rejigger and repopulate, and everything was fine. So yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that's what we got time for this week, my friends. That's where we're at. Thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for hanging with us through I'll call them technical difficulties, although we really didn't have any technical difficulties, did we? Except maybe our little out of sync thing. But mostly it was just we had tongue twister difficulties and just couldn't make things happen. Errors between the keyboard and the microphone, we will call it. So there you go. You got anything else to share, John, before we head on our way?
Nope.
All right. Well, then it's time to head on our way. Thanks for listening, folks. Make sure you tell a friend about the show. We would love that. Or if you want to review it, macgeekgab.com/reviews. In fact, we would love that too. And check out our premium program at macgeekgab.com/premium. I do want to take a minute here and thank our recent contributions to our premium program. Again, like I said, you can learn about that at macgeekgab.com/premium. It is for those of you who wish to contribute directly to the show. Listening is the best thing that you can do. Absolutely. Visiting our sponsors, even just visiting their URLs and checking out their products, that's another great thing that you can do. Whether you buy from them or not, that's between you and them. But listening, sending in your questions, sharing the show with your friends, that truly is the best thing that you can do. However, the premium program is a vibrant and very important part of what happens here. If you're able to contribute and you like to, please do so. Thanks to Dave from Saugerties, Wesson, I don't know where Wesson's from, and that's okay. Jeff from Chesterton, Mark from Centennial, Alan from Montgomery, Bill from Duxbury, Stuart M from Parts Unknown, James from Melville, John from Enrico, Joseph from Marietta, Frank from Tunbridge, Kirshen from Iowa, I want to say, Michael from Bristol, Michael from Concord, Walter from Kansas City, Robert from Columbiana, Fernando from Cincinnati, Stephen from Plainfield, Barry from everywhere that he travels to, Martin from way over there, Jonathan from Parts Unknown, and Stephen from Costa Mesa. You all rock. So thank you for your contributions. We really, really appreciate it. And that's what we got. Make sure to check out all our sponsors. As I said, we had TextExpander.com/podcast, CandidCo.com/MGG. Cool stuff there. Headspace.com/MGG, HelixSleep.com/MGG, MintMobile.com/MGG. Save yourself a bunch of money. Have some fun. Always be performing. Wait, no, that's the other podcast I do. What is it that we say here, John? What's the important piece of advice that we like to share?
Don't get caught.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Don't get caught. Wait, we can say that with Morse code.